Okay, well, it's a nice gloomy day in San Bernardino. It's warm, very humid. I changed some of my camera settings. I've gone to from 30 frames a second to 60. I went from super wide to wide, and I turned the camera stabilization off to see if it gets rid of that up and down motion it seems to have. Figured I'd get in a little bit to my backstory. My last job was Home Depot in 2010 when I lost my job. I got terminated from my job. It was a whole bunch of bullshit, but whatever. But unfortunately, when I lost my job, it was in the middle of the recession back then. And try as I might, I couldn't find another job. I was on unemployment until that ran out. I went for multiple interviews, any kind of job, janitorial, food service, retail, anything I could find. Nothing panned out. Even seasonal work wouldn't pan out. And I kept searching and searching and searching. And I'd had a job up until then since I was 17 years old. So it kind of sucked. Eventually, I ended up starting to get EBT to feed myself, which I felt really bad about at first, but the feeling kind of goes away after a while when you realize necessity outweighs your pride. And then around that time, I discovered that you can make money online doing surveys and stuff for like gift cards, and I hadn't known that before, so I started doing that, and that's how I pay for most of my e-bike stuff and like my clothes and toiletries and food money when I run out of EBT. I'm currently disabled. I cannot work. The only reason why I could ride this bike is because it has motors. I can't really pedal anymore. I think I mentioned that before. Yeah, I'm trying to organize my thoughts here. When I was 34, actually a little bit before 34, my whole family got norovirus really bad. Bump. And puking and vomiting and shitting, and I had a panic attack in the middle of all that, and that was my first ever panic attack. Little did I know it was a precursor to what was about to happen to me later on in life. When I was 34, I went for a bike ride. I was cutting through Cal State like I normally do, and I forgot that the wheelchair ramp I was aiming for wasn't a traditional style wheelchair ramp like you'd see at a corner of an intersection. It was one of those ones that has a curb in the middle and there's a ramp on the left and a ramp on the right. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I forgot, and I ran right into the curb. And I waffled my front wheel and broke my frame and fractured my elbow. And I didn't know I'd injured my elbow until I went to sit up and I put weight on my left arm and my arm buckled. And that triggered my second panic attack I've ever had. And that one stayed with me for a while. I ended up going to the ER and kept feeling like I was going to have another attack. And then at that time I was still looking for work, and I had to stop because I had to let my arm heal. And then my arm healed, and then I started looking for work again. And then I had my third panic attack, and that was the trifecta of panic attacks. I ended up technically bedridden. I couldn't stop. I kept having anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was going to the hospital. They put me on antidepressants and anxiety medication, which helped for a while. The antidepressants seemed to help, but they were masking the underlying issue. And so it stopped working after a while, and the only thing that would really keep me calmed down was the anxiety medication, but all it does is really make me sleepy all the time. I still take it every so often. I try not to, though. I started managing most of my shit by taking vitamins and supplements. Apparently I was deficient. I didn't realize I was deficient. And that's what happened. Basically, for 4.5 years, I was B12 deficient. My body wasn't absorbing it properly from food I was eating. And that's what started triggering all my attacks and stuff, because I started having all the symptoms of B12 deficiency. Except for my skin didn't get jaundice. That's pretty much the only thing I didn't get. And it went on for such a long time, I basically am never going to be able to recover completely. I just started taking it, and it kind of leveled me off a little bit. But I still have panic attacks. I still have anxiety attacks. I wake up with them, and those are the worst ones, because when you wake up with them, you've had no time to try to mentally control what's happening to you. So you're just sitting there like, oh my God, freaking out. Usually what I'll do is I'll grab my tablet and start playing puzzle games, and that tends to kind of center me a little bit. That asshole just ran a red light blatantly. Of course, I did too the other day, so I'm an asshole, I guess. But anyways, I digress. Panic attacks. Yeah, so now I have chest pain from my esophagus being messed up. I get acid reflux and GERD and freaking heartburn and indigestion. I take Pepto a lot. I have to eat Activia before I eat food to help with my probiotics for my gut health. It's the only thing that works. Prescription medication, over-the-counter medication doesn't work for me, except for Pepto. And that's just a symptom reducer. I get winded really easy, or short of breath really easy. I can't really handle stress very much. That's why I kind of, when I'm writing and I'll yell at people, I'm overreacting to the situation because I just can't handle stress. I get a uneven, quick heart rate a lot of the time, palpitations. I don't have AFib. I don't have any heart problems, according to the doctor, every time I go, and I've gone multiple times in the last 12 years. They always say I'm fine. My blood works impeccable. My heart rate's perfect. My lungs aren't damaged. So I'm just in pain. I'm in pain right now as I'm riding my bike. I've just been dealing with it so damn long that it's like commonplace for me. So like I can't work with this. I've been trying to get disability for years and years and years, and I can't get qualified because the doctors can never pinpoint exactly what's wrong. That's pretty much it. I mean, if I could find a job where I could sit down and work on bikes or something, that'd be freaking great, but the place would have to understand that my problems and that I can't strain too hard. Like, I have trouble working on this bike when I have to get a stubborn nut off or something. That didn't sound right. Or a bolt or something, and I usually have to use like a mallet and my wrench or a pair of vice grips, and I have to tap it because I can't really use my own physical force or weight to push it, because then I start to, the pressure that builds in my head causes like a vasal response. And usually with the vasal response, you're supposed to pass out. That's what your body does. You pass out, your brain resets, you wake up, and you're good to go. I don't pass out. My brain resets while I'm wide awake. And that's not fun. It is really not fun. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that, but I hope nobody ever has, because it's like really fucking horrible. It feels like you're dying. It feels like a panic attack multiplied times about 10. It literally feels like you're dying, and you start fading out. Your vision narrows, everything gets really bright, you break out in a cold sweat, your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes quick and shallow. It's just fucking horrible. Yeah. So what I'm doing with my channel now is, why I'm riding my bike so much, is I am trying to get subscribers. I am trying to get interaction with people in the comment section. I want to do e-bike influencing. I have 14 years of experience doing this, and I'm really tired of watching YouTubers get free bikes and then do the shittiest freaking review of them. They take them for one ride, and then they think they know everything about the bike. It sounds like they're reading off a script. I understand some of them are paid reviews, but still, consumers are basing their purchasing of products based upon the review you did on a bike, and thinking that they're going to get a discount because you have a code in your freaking on your channel. I mean, the batteries on an e-bike don't even work right until you take a few rides, because the batteries have to charge and discharge multiple times for them to settle, so that you get the proper amount of discharge when you're riding your bike. To truly determine the kind of range you get based on the kind of rider you are and your style of riding, whether you're going to be pedal assisting it or coasting a lot or full throttling it everywhere. And they're very dishonest reviews, and I don't appreciate them. There's a few that do really good reviews, but the thing is, again, they only do one ride, and then they never ride the bike again. And they turn around, within a week they've sold it to somebody. It's like, you got to ride a bike, just the mechanical side of a bike, at least a month to determine how the spokes are going to hold up, how the brakes are going to work, how well the pads are going to hold up, how good the tires are, whether you're going to have issues with the seat or the seat post, whether it sits loose. Because God forbid you ride a bike one time, think it's great, sell it to somebody, and then they kill themselves because there was a bunch of loose parts you didn't notice because you didn't bother to hang on to the bike for a while. You need to do a better job. So I'm hoping the video on this is going to look okay. Even if it's not, I'm still probably going to upload it just because of my commentary. Because this type of information needs to get out there. I'm just really annoyed. Being an avid cyclist since I was 6 years old, having raced mountain bikes, having ridden bikes, having eaten shit, hurt myself, having injured myself because of defective parts or bad bike builds that I didn't do, or that I did do. You know, it's important. Morning. So I'm getting a little wet out here. It's only sprinkling, but yeah, I want to start hitting up e-bike manufacturers and see if I can do collaborations with them. But my channel doesn't have enough views or subscribers for them to even want to be bothered with me. And I'm afraid some of them don't actually want me to review their bikes because I'll do an honest review on their bikes. Because I don't think they want an honest review. They want to sell a product. They want someone to only ride a bike one time and then do a okay review on it and bribe people into buying it by offering them a discount code. And I know there's a lot of good YouTubers that actually learn about the bikes and actually know what the hell they're talking about. But then there's a lot that, like I said, they're reading off the script, they're reading about amp hours and watts and voltage, and they have no idea how any of it works. Basically saying what they've been told to say. I gotta be careful, my front tire is getting a little bald. I haven't changed it yet. And besides, I want a realistic, like, American-sized person riding around on e-bikes. Because, like, if you're fit and you're, like, muscly and shit, you're not going to want an e-bike. You're going to want to ride your regular bike and keep being fit. But if you're like me and you have health problems, you're going to want an e-bike. But people with me, like me, with health problems tend to be bigger. And most e-bikes aren't built for bigger people. Technically, the frames aren't, but the components are. I mean, the frames are and the components aren't. The frames are usually really solid. They know the extra weight can cause a lot of stress on the frame, so they build good frames and do good weld jobs on them. But it's usually the components are like, basically it's the battery packs. They're not thinking, oh well, if a 300 plus pound rider rides one of our bikes, then they're not going to get our quoted range, and they're going to be complaining about the bike. Instead of being honest in the first place and having like a breakdown sheet of what the average rider, as opposed to the not so average riders, what kind of range they're going to get out of their bikes, they just keep BSing people thinking, oh, this 10.5 hour battery is going to get you 40 miles. Yeah, if you don't use the motor the whole fucking time and just pedal the bike, and sure, yeah, you'll get 40 miles out of it, but it won't be an e-bike anymore, now will it? If I got the camera angle right. Yeah, it's just annoying. It's just really annoying. And you get like these startups that start selling e-bikes. They'll buy like a bulk seller from like Alibaba or freaking somewhere in China, and then they'll slap their name on them, and then they'll start selling them. And then you have problems with the bike, and you try to contact them and say, hey, this broke, what can you do? It's like, oh, let me talk to my technician. What they're really doing is contacting the manufacturer. And the manufacturer's feeding them a line of bullshit, and then they're turning around feeding that bullshit to you. And someone like me, especially if it's a bike issue, and I already know the answer, it's like I'm testing them because I know what's wrong with the bike. And I want to see what they say. And a lot of times it's not what they should say. They'll tell me, oh, the wheel's built a certain way because of the torque of the spokes, and then you're like, no, that's not how you build a wheel. It has nothing to do with that. Or like, oh, that bolt was tightened like that because it's supposed to be tightened. It's like the fucking headset bolt that you're not supposed to tighten all the way down. You're supposed to tighten up the side bolts that connect the neck to the the stem. Morning. Shit like that, it's just, that's annoying as hell. And then when you have a warranty issue, then they try to beat around the bush and be like, oh, well, your warranty doesn't cover that. I'm like, it explicitly covers this. It says that it covers this. And you gotta freaking like strong arm them in order to get your warranty shit covered. Then they're like, well, I'm just a startup. I don't have the spare parts, and even though I offered this warranty, maybe I shouldn't have, so I'm sorry, I can't give you your parts. Or they try to do, I'm just a college student, and I'm trying to earn a side business, side income, and a side hustle, and I don't have any spare parts. I just bought these bikes in bulk, and I'm trying to turn them for a profit. And then you happen to find out the information about that seller who's saying they're a college student, and there's some fucking big-ass manufacturer in China. That happened to me. With one of the bikes that's currently in my garage. I kept, spokes kept breaking in the rear wheel, and the freaking brake calipers that were on the bike kept snapping because they're cheap piece of shit die-cast freaking brake calipers. They didn't want to honor the warranty, so I ended up having to spend money out of my own pocket to fix the problem. Eventually, I ended up just yanking all their electronics and components off the bike and just swapping them out with stuff I bought and stuff I already had on hand, and I had no more problems with the bike. But seriously though, if I ever do start doing e-bike reviews and collaborations with honest e-bike sellers and manufacturers and not bullshit ones, the last thing I'm going to do is turn around and sell a bike like a week within owning it. I'll literally hang on to it at least a month or two just to make sure that the review is honest and in depth and covers all aspects of the bike, not just the electrical side, the mechanical side, the brakes, the spokes in your wheels, whether or not your shit's going to keep coming loose on you, you keep having to retighten everything. I hear some dirt bikes. I don't know where they are. I hear them. Yeah, I'm definitely probably going to be changing this front tire out tomorrow. It looks like the middle of it's getting pretty worn down. Looks like it's rubbing down to the Bell flat defense that's supposed to be in the tire. Thing is, I bought a new tire without the flat defense, and I looked at it, and I looked at this tire, and it's like exactly the same tire, and it's exactly the same weight, and exactly the same thickness, so I'm like questioning the whole Bell flat defense thing, because I didn't notice any difference. Actually, the new tire actually feels more durable. I don't know what that's all about. Oh good, I can make this light, somebody used the crosswalk. Yay. So this will just be a short little ride. I don't want to be out here too long in case it starts raining really hard. That's always fun. I mean, my bike's pretty well sealed up. I'm not worried about my electrical components. I'm worried about the camera because it's just like kind of an open air mount. It's not really in any enclosure right now. One thing when I was younger, when I was started racing cross-country mountain bikes, and I was really getting into it. It's kind of expensive, but I was a pretty good bike mechanic at that time, so I was able to do most of my repairs. But I injured my left knee when I was working at Pizza Hut. I was taking the trash out, and there was some puddles outside. I think I may have mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. I stepped in it, and my knee went out. And my knees dislocate, but they pop right back in. They don't stay popped out. Hasn't happened in a couple decades. But it chipped off a piece of something, because then I had a floater in my knee, and it would get up in the joint. And when I would pedal my bike, it would make my knee kind of pop. Not painfully, but it was very distracting. And it did actually hurt a few times. And so basically I had to stop racing, which sucked. I'd still go for bike rides and stuff, and I still had to ride to work because I didn't have a car. I've never actually owned a car. I'm just all about two wheels and pedals. Now, two wheels, pedals, and motors. I'm so glad I'm not having to deal with the sunlight blinding me right now. I'm sure anybody watching this will be glad of that too. Still fairly early. I think it's like barely 7 o'clock at that. Maybe a little after. This city is so weird. It like rains in different sections. Like the cloud cover is constant, but it's raining in some parts and not raining in other parts. I know that happens a lot of places, but it's like, it's kind of weird when you're riding a bike and you're hauling ass and you're trying to get out of the rain and it's like the rain's chasing you and you're like, stop, leave me alone. I took a shower. Now I gotta go home and do a grocery